we're going to go ahead and move on to a person who is representing an entire industry right now. And that's the direct response design industry. And I've asked her to speak because, first of all, I think she's an amazing designer. I've worked with her on many, many projects, and I'm having her sort of speak in behalf of the designers that we've all worked with and all really appreciate. So please welcome Ms. Lori Haller.
Hey guys, it's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me. First off, I just wanted to say honestly that I pinch myself every day since I met Clayton. I feel like I was given the lottery ticket or some gold star or something like that, just to have been able to be with him for decades, him driving that copy like he did, and then me on art. So we first met during, I guess it was the big hit time, decades ago when Magalogs were so popular. And in case you haven't heard of a Magalog, many of us here today cut our teeth on those in this industry. So it's an 8.5 by 11. It can be 16 pages, 20 pages. This particular one with Clayton, I think, was 32. It was for Louis Rukeyser. It was for financial copy, and we were trying to sell the services of this publication to our readers. So we printed it, which might sound weird to you. It was on real paper, and then we mailed it to their mailboxes. They got it at home, and hopefully they sent in their money. So that's where I met him. Now, don't forget, I had the luxury as well, again, and the honor to have already kind of cut my teeth and been under the wings of Gary Bencivenga. It's so good to see you again. Jim Rutz, Bill Jamie, David Deutsch, Dan Rosenthal. So I had done all these Magalogs with them, mailing out the wazoo. And here comes Clayton. I had never met him before. And the interesting thing about Clayton's copy, I'll never forget it. I guess since it was a 32 pager, it could have been like 80 pages of copy for me to read before I designed it. But it was so different. All the other, writers, the established writers, they gave me notes. But when his Word file came over, it had these like segments. It was always in this typewriter font. It always started with Lori or designer. That was in red, all caps, designer. And then he would give me some notes as well. But the thing that was so different was he left an open loop at the end. So he said, I'm thinking this is impactful, put this in a Johnson box, this bigger, make sure when you get to the reply page, this pops out. So he would give me all of those, but for that main concept, he would leave it wide open, give me as much as he could, but then he pulled back. And that says a lot about Clayton, not just in copy and working together, but also in his life, like never just kaboom, being the biggest star on the stage, giving you some room to think. So he was a copywriter at the beginning with me. He became like we thought together. We worked together, like I said, for decades. Then he became like a business partner as we would move around and work with different teams, a mentor, of course, a teacher, just like, most of the people today speaking. But then it rolled in, as everyone else had said, he and Wendy, their children, their grandchildren, their whole family. Just a dear, dear friend that, I can't thank enough. So I wanted to share a couple things. I was waiting to see what everybody else was saying, but a couple words that I learned from Clayton that I can actually say today, because I know Carline has like, you can only go up to this level, but you know how all of you are always trying to write email copy and get that subject line just right so your reader will open it? Well, one word that I want you to write down is HALP. But as you could tell, I didn't say help like the Beatles song. It's HALP. Who here knows what I'm talking about? So you would wake up at the crack of dawn to be on deadline with him. And oh, you were sweating when you got to your computer. And when you got that subject line and you saw that from Clayton, and it was capital, all capitals, of course, HALLPPP and like 10 exclamation points, there was only like 2 ways it could go. It was either I was in the doghouse and something had blown up, or he had a big contract and he was so beautifully, you know, inviting me in. And I liked both of those pretty much the same. The other word was, gosh, I wish you could all raise your hand, the word slammer. So we're working on a project, you know, night and day, and we're hoping for a winner. I get this email like, Haller, you know, that's what he would say when he needed me to snap to attention. Haller, take all the slammers off of the headline and the deck, for crying out loud. And I'm like, a slammer? Oh my God, I got the Johnson box, the headline, the subhead, the eyebrow going on. So finally somebody, I was not brave enough to ask. I think it was Helena Liebeck, maybe Walter, I'm not sure. But, you know, she figured it out by looking online. And the slammer was an exclamation mark. I mean, I hope I'm not the only person that didn't know that, or this team, but so you got HALP and now you got slammer. So the other 2 words are fonts, our favorite fonts together. Yeah, I can barely still use those fonts without, you know, getting a little crazy, but they were Impact. That's something you should write down. Clayton's fonts, Impact, and Achan. So Impact is this sans serif font, tall, lean and mean and heavy. And boy, it just, you know, you'll hear me speak about this, and Clayton always drove this home. Heavy on the top, Haller, heavy on the top. Keep that headline up there. Next to that eyebrow, drag them onto the page, force them down. So Impact could do that. And we would couple that together with Achan, and that would just seal the deal. So giving me all those new words, the good ones that I can share, was beautiful. The inspiration part and the openness was probably one of the biggest things that was just so remarkable. How many people will give you the chance, doing anything you want on a huge, very expensive sales page, to put a smashed, enormous, rotten tomato up at the top of the headline with the campaign, most stocks suck. And Cindy Butehorn is probably giggling right now because she was involved in that. But that went online as a sales page and then back to print, online. Again, I still do edits for that, and I bet it's been 5 years. So he gave me a chance. He gave all of us a chance, everyone here, with his giving, loving, kindness, training, you know, pushing me again and again to do my very best, keep the reader on the page, training me, giving me the chance. Truly, I didn't deserve it, but allowing me to just pretty much drive it home with the ideas I brought to the page. Another thing, and I think somebody brought this up, like, he always put himself back here. I think, Richard, you said that. Gary, you said that. When we go on the stage with Denise and Katie and those guys, you know, here I am. I'm the designer. I'm the art director. Here's all these copywriters. I don't know if you ever attended one of those, but you might have remembered when he called you up to introduce you, he would make a way bigger deal out of you than you really were. So I would get the giggles when he would start telling me, you know, announcing me to come up. As he would say, and Lori Haller, the designer, you know, if you don't know her yet, you better get on this little lady's dance card before she's all booked up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, nobody's on my dance card. I've got plenty of time on my hands. So that was really precious. So one of the biggest things I want to leave you with, since we switched our times, I apologize, Carline, you're going to have to give me the big thumbs up, but this is big. We've been switching around a team. I consult a lot of teams and train their designers and copywriters, marketers to all work together. And it had been going on for a long time. We'd get emails, something was up with the team. We had a brilliant talent. I had been working with them. We just couldn't hold them on point. they would do one amazing thing and then just get off track. They were designing for themselves. They were not designing for the audience at hand. This was going on far too long. I was already booked to come and train on site, the whole team. And so Clayton reached out. I'm not saying that I was going to give up, but I had this 1 or 2 times in my entire career when I was training people that, it just wasn't going to work out. And I had a sneaking suspicion. Oh no, Clayton was like, you get on down here. We're going to get this team together. And he had me make these specific, like 21 pages. And I'd say 11 people were, or 11 pages, excuse me, of those were directed, at this person. So day one went by, we got through day 1, people were catching on, everything was working well. This person wasn't really answering the questions. Day 2, we get to day 3, and I was kind of losing hope. I'll be honest. Clayton was still on top of it. We are going to do this, Lori. We are going to give this person a chance. Out of all, Clayton's dealing with the whole company, the copy, dev, marketing, design. No, he's on top.
Hey, Lori.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I want to bring out some point that you made that was spectacular. One was for copywriters to realize it's fine to give direction. That's wonderful, but don't try to take over.
Yeah.
You're not the designer.
Exactly.
You're not the designer. So when you are turning the copy over to designer, that's when you back off. You don't let go of your copy, but you back off and let the designer take the center stage. So you can have suggestions going into your copy, but do not, micromanage your designer. It will be a terrible experience for both of you. And it's going to be a terrible project when you're done with it. So back off when you need to back off and let your designer shine. That's what Clayton taught me to do. I teach that to my writers all the time. I'm like, you're not being paid to be a designer. You're being paid to be a copywriter. Just manage your copy. Let the designer do his or her thing so that you can work together as a team. That was brilliant. And Impact is the only font I use on my headline. It is the only font. That's because of Clayton Makepeace. I tell my copy cubs too. It's like, listen, don't you give me anything on a cover unless that headline is Impact font. And don't bold it. You don't need the bold Impact font. It's got enough impact of its own. So that is a great lesson.
Can I just read my little quick 6-line poem thing? Every mountaintop is within reach if you just keep climbing. And that's what Clayton was all about. Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Lori. Really appreciate it.